Welcome back my YouTube channel Old Car Stories. Today, we take you on a journey back in time to explore one of the most iconic vehicles in automotive history, this car Ford Model A. It begins not long after the world had already fallen in love with the Model T. By 1927, the Model T had been in production for nearly 2 decades and had changed the way Americans lived, worked, and traveled. But time was moving forward, and so were the needs of the people. The automobile industry was evolving quickly, and Henry Ford knew it was time for a new chapter. After much hesitation, Henry Ford finally agreed to retire the Model T and design an entirely new car. This new car would need to be more stylish, more comfortable, and better suited for the demands of modern drivers. The result was the Ford Model A, a car that would become one of the most beloved vehicles of its era. The Model A was officially introduced to the public on December 2, 1927. It was a major departure from its predecessor. Where the Model T was simple and utilitarian, the Model A was refined, with a more modern look and improved engineering. It came with features that the average American hadn't seen in a car before, especially at such an affordable price. Ford offered the Model A in several body styles, from roadsters and coupes to sedans and pickups. This gave customers more options and reflected Ford's understanding that automobiles were becoming more than just tools. They were now personal statements. People could choose a car that matched their personality and lifestyle, without stepping far outside their budget. Under the hood, the Model A came with a 3.3-liter inline 4-cylinder engine that produced about 40 horsepower. While that may not sound like much by today's standards, it was a noticeable improvement over the Model T. The Model A could reach a top speed of around 65 miles per hour, which was more than enough for the roads of the late 1920s. One of the biggest upgrades was the introduction of a sliding gear transmission. The Model A had a 3-speed manual transmission that was much easier to use than the planetary gear system in the Model T. This made the driving experience smoother and more intuitive, especially for people new to driving. The suspension was also updated. The Model A used a conventional suspension setup with transverse leaf springs, which helped give the car a more stable ride. It also featured 4-wheel mechanical drum brakes, which significantly improved stopping power over the Model T's rear-only brakes. Another leap forward was the inclusion of a proper electrical system. The Model A came with a 6-volt battery, generator, and coil ignition. This made it possible to have electric headlights and a reliable starting system, moving away from the hand crank method that had once been standard. Inside, the Model A was surprisingly comfortable for its time. The cabin was roomy, with improved seating, better visibility, and a dashboard that included a speedometer, ammeter, and fuel gauge. Ford paid attention to driver comfort, a sign that the car was no longer just a machine, but part of people's everyday lives. Even though the Model A was only in production for about 4 years, from late 1927 to early 1932, it was a massive success. Ford built nearly 5 million units in that time, and the car was sold not just in the United States, but also in countries around the world. It became a symbol of reliability, affordability, and modernity. The Model A also marked an important shift in the Ford Motor Company's approach to design and engineering. It was no longer enough to produce one basic model for the masses. Ford began to focus more on customer preferences, competition, and market trends. This mindset would shape the company's future. Collectors and enthusiasts today still hold the Model A in high regard. Many vintage car owners take pride in restoring these cars to their original condition, showing them off at classic car shows, or just taking them out for a weekend drive. Its simple mechanics make it a favorite among hobbyists, and its style captures the elegance of a bygone era. In terms of influence, the Model A helped lay the groundwork for the cars that came after it. It taught manufacturers that customers were looking for more than just transportation. They wanted comfort, reliability, and a bit of flair. The Model A delivered on all those fronts without ever straying from its working-class roots. Some Model A versions also came with features ahead of their time, like safety glass in the windshield, which was a new and important innovation. The attention to safety, though subtle, showed that Ford was beginning to look at the car as part of a larger ecosystem of human life. With all its risks and responsibilities, the car also became part of American culture in ways that still echo today. It appeared in countless films, books, and photographs from the late 1920s and early 30s. It carried families through the Great Depression and was often seen as a symbol of perseverance during difficult times. When people talk about the golden age of American motoring, the Model A often takes center stage. It represents a moment when technology, style, and accessibility came together in a way that felt exciting and hopeful. The kind of car that gave people their first taste of real freedom. Looking back now, the 1927 Ford Model A is more than just a car. It's a snapshot of a country on the move, learning how to live in a modern world. Every detail, from its sturdy frame to its honest simplicity, tells a story of progress, of resilience, and of the ordinary people who drove it into history. And that's what makes the Ford Model A such an important part of old car stories. It wasn't the most powerful car or the most luxurious, but it captured something essential about the time it was born in. A car for everyone, made with care and purpose, built to last, and remembered with love. Thanks for joining us on this trip back in time. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more journeys into the past with old car stories.